Well, Andy just got done spreading all the fertilizer, and I figured we got a big problem. That buggy that we borrowed from Co-op, the chart on the back of it, the rate chart, is way off, and we actually put out 25% less fertilizer than what I was intending. According to my calculations, we only put out about 56 to 57 pounds of nitrogen, and that's kind of got me concerned, because like I said before, you say all this biomass has to decompose, and to do that requires nitrogen. Corn's going to be coming up and growing and setting yield at the same time that all this is decomposing. There's a chance we might have hurt our corn crop right off the bat. Now, we can make up for that extra nitrogen on our side dress application, but I really wanted that nitrogen out there from the start. Y'all might ask, well, why don't you just get enough fertilizer and go back over it again? Well, for one thing, because I don't trust that buggy. My buggy is still in a million different pieces, and I don't trust that buggy to put out an accurate rate after going across its first trip. Second reason is that, you know, this corn hadn't come up yet. We're about to get, I don't know, enough rain to make it wet. The ground's not going to dry out quick because cover crops is being killed, and, you know, just potentially running over rows, you know, especially on the in-rows turning around and stuff, could really pack that seed down in the ground and could hurt our stand. So which one's going to lose us more yield? The potentially driving over corn rows, turning around on the in-rows and all that, and losing stand, or not having enough nitrogen out there? I don't know, but I do know that I wouldn't be able to get the right rate with the co-op buggy, so we're gonna let it be. You know, we did go with a heavier rated chicken litter on our corn ground than what we used to. We put out an extra half a ton an acre, which means that there is more nitrogen out there. However, it's not necessarily available right now. What was available immediately, I'm sure the cover crop is taking up some of it. However, you know, there is some extra nitrogen out there, so I think we'll be okay. But just to be on the safe side, I'm hoping we're not busy planting cotton or having to do something else and we have the weather, then maybe I can come in at around the V4 stage of my corn and side dress it then. You know, normally we target right there at V5, but just to make sure that we've got the nitrogen out there whenever the corn plant is setting rows around on the ear, probably going to try and just hit our side dress just a little bit earlier, and then of course, you know, we'll make up the extra nitrogen with our side dress. So that's kind of what my plan is, but as precise as I like to be, I'm pretty upset that we didn't get that first fertilizer application right. It's all my fault. I should have measured how many acres we got across with the first tender truckload, realized that there was a problem, and corrected it then. It's just one of those details. It slipped my mind. I didn't check it. My fault. And I could potentially pay the mistake this fall for it. Well, there's something else I forgot to do. Come get this tree cleaned up before we planted. I tell you what, I need a few days off. We've been going absolutely non-stop since the second week of March. I think I've taken a grand total of like maybe 3 days total, and probably 2 of those were half days. I'm tired, I'm mentally drained, and I'm making mistakes. You know, letting details slip through the cracks that normally I catch. So what I really need is a good long weekend off to recharge my batteries and get my head back in the game where it needs to be before I really make a critical mistake. Well, believe it or not, we made it. Last couple passes. So that puts us at about 100 acres done since this afternoon. So I feel pretty dang good about what we done this week. Got all of our soybeans planted and got the vast majority of our corn planted. It's going to leave us with about 75 acres of corn left to plant after the rain moves out and it dries up. Plus got my variety plots to plant. So, but before we get any more corn planted, we got to get a piece of equipment ready. Cover crops in these bottoms that I've got to plant. It's what I drilled last fall, and we sure enough got a good thick stand of cover crop, and it's pretty tall and thick out there, and I really need to run that roller crimper over it. So I think we got a little work to do on it before we can bring it to the field, but it looks like we're gonna have a couple of days down the shop to be able to get it done. So we'll see you back down in the shop tomorrow. Weatherman lied again. Well, we were in bonus time. The rains is supposed to come in last night, this morning, has not materialized. Now they're saying, I don't know, early to mid-afternoon. So guess what? We still got more corn seed to go in the ground. We're gonna put it in the ground. Swapping varieties again. Decab 69.99. This is a 119-day corn that we planted last year. This was our highest yielder. Had a big old fat donkey. It had a big old fat cob, if you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, we saved our best ground for last to plant. That's where this variety's going on. So we got real light bags, so I should be able to make pretty quick work getting this thing loaded up. So see you back on the road. All right, we're down here in the Porter Cable bottom. This is in cover crop that we drilled last year with a Borgo air seeder, and man alive, does it look fabulous and thick. In fact, thick enough, we brought the roller crimper out. But look at what's down here. Got a cereal rye, annual ryegrass, oats, vetch, or might be lentils. I got lentils in here too. Got some Balanza clover, crimson clover. And with this mix, we were targeting, 25-to-1 carbon to nitrogen ratio, and I think we did a pretty dang good job. But this stuff is just getting mature enough that it's going to, it should crimp pretty well. And as thick as it is, one reason that we're crimping it, not only for better weed control, because I really don't want those corn seedlings really hunting for sunlight, and as thick as this is out here, it's going to take a while to lie down, and when the corn comes up, could cause it to be, kind of thin and spindly, and I just don't like that. So I think this is going to do a real good job crimping, and we're going to lay it down. All those overhaul of the crimper that I was planning on doing the next couple of days with the rain, we just gonna have to put it off and hope the thing holds together. As you can tell, it's so thick you can't really see my burn down strips. That Balanza clover really has branched out and gone in to fill the middles up right here. Originally I was going to plant and then have Andy crimp it, but just for speed purposes, but I think I really need to let him go in front of me. And then I plant, and that way my row cleaners can kind of clear out a path, because when we have to come in here and spray post-emergence herbicide, unless it's kind of got a path cleared out, Andy won't ever be able to see where the rows are and follow the rows, and might run the risk of just running straight down a row. It's kind of thin in this area, not going to lay down the best. We get out there towards the middle, it's going to lay down like a dream. But this right here, what it's going to look like out there in the middle. And I got Kelly spraying out in front of it, spraying paraquat, because that crimper will not kill all this annual ryegrass out here. I got just a little bit different view from what we've had the last several days. Tell that cover crop, it's laying down pretty good. Only places where it's still sticking up a little bit is where annual ryegrass is, the primary thing growing out there. And then this bottom, especially get over on this side over here. It's real wet. Annual ryegrass is about the only thing that really tolerates wet soil pretty good. The other crops don't like it near as much, but she's doing good, planting like a dream. And one thing we definitely not going to have to worry about is any weeds popping up. All that thick residue is really going to block the sunlight from hitting the soil, which is what the vast majority of weeds need to germinate, is sunlight. So we ought to have some pretty dang good weed control this year out of this. I think Andy's finally gotten his groove back. It took him a few acres, you know, to remember how to do guidance lines and all that kind of stuff, because he's only running half the swath as I am, but he finally got it figured back out, and he's got his pass straight on point. Now when we get started on cotton, you know, he's going to be running the crimper in front of the planter for that too, but his job's going to be a little bit easier this year, I hope. I broke down and ordered a new receiver unlocked for RTK. Now the receiver that he's using now is an old 262 receiver, just running strictly on WAS, and he's running the same guidance lines as I am on my monitor, but because he's half the width, he has to adjust it over, because he's got to make 2 passes where I make 1 pass. And a new receiver unlocked for RTK is going to be a lot easier for him, because it's going to be a lot more accurate. Now, when I say WAS and RTK or OmniStar or SF1, all that kind of stuff is correction levels of the raw GPS signal. Now, the vast majority of GPS devices are running on WAS, which is really no GPS correction whatsoever. You know, your iPhones, your Garmin's, you know, drones, the GPS in your cars, all of that is running on WAS, and it's very accurate when you're talking about broad spaces or following a road or whatever. But in reality, it's only about, its accuracy is only about 3 feet of where you actually are. It can be a little bit better just depending on circumstances, but you know, it's really only within about 3 feet accuracy. And when you're doing what we're doing, we need to be extremely precise in our accuracy. And RTK is a correction signal that is sub-inch accuracy, but it's also repeatable. And that's the big problem we're finding with WAS, is that it's not necessarily repeatable from day to day, year to year, or whatever. We might have our guidance line right here, but you come back in an hour, the guidance line might have shifted because satellites are constantly moving and you have satellite drift. But that RTK takes all of that out of there. So him running on WAS, as he's going through the field, you know, every pass, every few passes, he's having to constantly remark his GPS line because the line is drifting on him, which makes it a lot more difficult. Now with that new receiver, he gets there and he remarks it to where it needs to be. It's going to have sub-inch accuracy all the way across the field, and he will know that he's doing exactly the pass that he needs to do, and he's not off 1 row or whatever either way. It didn't come cheap. A brand new 372 receiver unlocked for RTK cost about $9,000, and you got about $1,000 annual subscription fee on top of that. But I was actually able to find a used receiver that was already unlocked for RTK for about $6,500, so we'll save a little bit of money there. And I'm sure a lot of y'all asking, well, he's already got a GPS receiver on there, why not just get it unlocked for RTK? Well, the 262 that we're running it's a pretty ancient receiver. It's probably 10, 12 years old, and the fee to get a receiver unlocked for RTK is something like $5,000. So I don't want to spend that $5,000 on an ancient receiver that might quit working at any point. Plus, I don't even know if they can even do it for the 262s. I don't even know if they offer unlocks for those receivers anymore because they're so old and obsolete. But what we will have, we'll have an extra 262 receiver if we need it. The one on my combine is a 262. It's running on WAS, which for yield monitoring or auto steer in the combine, that's really all we need it for. I mean, the only thing we really need RTK for is when we're planting. It's going to be very useful on the roller crimper. We need it when we're running our hooded sprayer doing our burn down strips, because I'll plant right back into those strips. And then also running the hooded sprayer for in season for weed control and cotton. Those are really the only things we really need RTK for. WAS is fine for fertilizer spreading, running the manure spreader, you know, tillage. If we do any tillage, it's fine for all of that. And in a pinch, you know, if we do have a receiver go out, we can swap it with a 262 we got. We won't have RTK, but we will have GPS, and we can still get by if we need to, rather than waiting for my receiver to get shipped off and fixed and whatnot. And you know, we've had problems with receivers before, and it's going to be nice to have a spare on hand. It's looking like rain's right here on our doorstep. I don't think there's a whole lot of rain coming, but I think it's going to be enough to stop us from planting for a little while. So we'll get the rest of this field finished, see what radar looks like. There comes the rain. Fortunately, we only got a couple passes left. Looking at radar though, I don't think it's going to be very heavy. I think it's going to be fairly light and get moved out of here pretty quickly. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be enough to knock us out. There's still a chance we might get done today. We should probably go ahead and call it a day, but I've never been one that's been known to quit when I should. Kelly's just trying to spray a passer here in between showers. We haven't hardly gotten any rain, but just enough to, you know, get the roads good and wet, but definitely it hasn't been enough to knock us out. And watching radar, just real light showers just keep on popping up to our south and moving up this way. So I definitely don't want her to get too far out in front of me, because that carboxone will work quickly. You kill all that cover crop, then you get a big rain, and it takes forever to dry out. So try and just get her sprayed just enough to we can have it planted, but not so much sprayed that we get rained out before I can get it planted. I'm staying right on his heels. He got that thing rolling, but it only half the width of my planter. He got to work hard to stay in front of me. Well, cover crop's laying down like a dream. When that corn pops up, gets about V3, V4 stage, it's going to look beautiful out here. It's still raining lightly off and on, but my planter back there, I don't see any mud getting kicked up on it, so still looks like it's doing a good job planting. Well, it looks like Mother Nature's about to send us to the woodshed, tell us to go home. There ain't gonna be no planting through that rain. Luckily, I think we only got about 3 more rounds and we'll be caught up to what Kelly's gotten sprayed so far. I had her spray about half this field and then shut off, wait to let us get caught up, and it looks like that was probably about the perfect amount. This is all the corn we got left to do. Kelly sprayed a straight line just right up to the edge of these trees going down, so yeah, probably about 3 more rounds we'll be caught up.
I'm pretty sure her track is up here on my front left tire, and my tractor, do you want to go up here and make two more passes, or 124 row pass back this way towards me?
Yeah, if you see her tire track, her outside boom will cover 12 rows, so yeah, make 2 more passes on the other side, and that ought to get us done.
Alrighty, 10-4.
Well, I think this is going to be the last pass we're going to do right here. It's starting to come down pretty good. Yep, we definitely done for the day. I tell you what, we timed that up about perfectly. This is the last bit that Kelly got sprayed, and so all of this still going to be alive to dry it back up quickly whenever the rain moves out, and hopefully get this corn wrapped up real soon, because it looks like we got good weather ahead and we got cotton to plant. Earliest I've ever planted cotton potentially in a long time. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Our new roller came in.
Yeah, I saw that. Best guess we got between 1/4 and 1/2 inch up there where we was planting corn. Weather station on each side, one showed 1/4 inch, the other one showed 1/2 inch. So
it's gonna be a little softer.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be out this morning. I think we can get it finished up this afternoon, but meantime, let's get this finished up. I do believe we've finally got all of our parts and everything. So we got the final piece of the puzzle in. Here's my old roller. Here's the one that they sent me, and then here's the original one they sent me. You see how this drum is offset too much this way? So this one's a little different than this one. It's a little bit longer shaft, but on this end over here, it can be as long as it wants to. It's just got a sensor that mounts on the end. So I do believe that new one will work. So Andy, first thing, let's get these parts painted where they can be drying before we assemble them and everything. All right, that's where we got in this morning. This project is not done. We had to paint and then had some problems getting the gearbox on and stuff, but we long ways in it. It should go back pretty quick, but we don't have any more time to work on it. I think the field's dried up enough. We can go finish planting corn and get test plots planted and get corn wrapped up.
You want to tell them about your accident yesterday?
Yeah, there's an accident on the windshield of the water truck, by the way. Just thought of that.
It's shattered.
Yeah, there's a nice spiderweb crack right in the view right here.
What happened?
The windshield wiper got stuck, and I went like that, like not even enough to break a windshield, and I broke the windshield out of it yesterday.
I mean, it's just all the way down. So I have to call Jack Morris or somebody and get it replaced.
All right. Well, let's go eat a quick bite of lunch and go to the field. Got Pioneer and UT going to be out here between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, so we need to get that wrapped up and get moved to Clinton and get the test plots done by then. Try to make sure you don't break the other side of the windshield going out there.
No promises.
I've already had to file one claim. Oh look, I got a chauffeur today.
Usually my dog.
It's my helper. All right, we getting water truck moved back over here because we got come back over here and plant our test plots as soon as we get done over there on Smith family. So let's do a little scratch around in the ground and see what the corn seed looks like. It's Tuesday afternoon. We planted this Saturday afternoon, so let's see if we can find any sprouts here. All right, there's our first seed. Oh, look at there. Look at there. She's off to the races. Excellent. Let me put back down there. That's an excellent sign there. I'm tickled. Oh, and I happened to check that soybean ground next to Smith family that we planted last week, and we've got beans popping out of the ground. So it looks like we should have a dang good soybean stand too. So 2024 off to a good start so far. All right, 17 acres left. Let's get this wrapped up. I'd like to see what my house looks like in the daylight tonight. Well, here it is, folks. Last pass of planting. Corn planting, that is. Sorry. And once again, if it wasn't for cover crops, we would not be planting today after 4/10 of an inch of rain. But they let the rain soak on in the ground real quick, and then started removing the excess water through transpiration. And here we are getting done when there's probably not any other plantings in the area running. No, cover crops are not a miracle cure-all for everything, even though I know there's a lot of people out there touting cover crops and trying to make it seem like that it'll fix everything that's wrong with your farm. That is not true. I just want to make it clear from my perspective that cover crops, I think, are an extremely valuable tool for us, and I think they will help us reach our goals in the future with sustainability, you know, using reduced inputs, a lot of stuff that right now will save us money, but in the future, I believe will become mandated by the federal government. You know, just look over the European Union. You know, I think a lot of current practices are going to be heavily frowned on, if not outlawed, in the coming years, and we want to have our farm well situated for that future, and I believe we're well on our way to, and we've gained enough knowledge that we've been able to help quite a few other farmers along the way achieve those same goals. But like I said, cover crops are not a magical cure-all for everything that's wrong in your field. They can be a big pain in the butt. They can hurt yield if they're not managed properly. You know, there's a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of different management factors you have to consider when utilizing high biomass cover crops, and I've tried to showcase a lot of the concerns, a lot of the difficulties, and then a lot of the solutions that we have found over the course of the last few years, and we're still learning every single year, you know, how crops react under certain situations with this level of biomass and everything. And you know, it's not an automatic ticket to higher yields and everything else, but it is a very valuable tool to take carbon out of the atmosphere, which everybody wants to do, put it back into the soil where it will be extremely useful, and the more carbon you put in the soil, the more fertile your soil will be, the more resilient your crops will be, and going through inclement weather conditions, whether it's drought, excess water, your soils will eventually be rehabilitated in order to be able to handle a lot of those situations a whole lot better than the soils that we've been farming for the last 20-30 years that have been heavily degraded by decades and decades of tillage and then, you know, continuous use of synthetic products. But again, they are a headache. They do require very specific management and careful management to make sure that they don't cause any negative interactions with your cash crop, because the last thing we can have happen, or the last thing we can afford to do, is to have our cash crop negatively impacted by one of our practices that's trying to boost our crop. So anyway, guys, we still got our test plots to plant. Y'all see me plant countless test plots. Not going to bore you on that, but anyway, I hope y'all enjoy corn planting. But guess what? Cotton planting's right around the corner. As soon as we can get back to the shop, get swapped over for cotton. We had all our seed and chemicals delivered this morning. We're going to stick some cotton in the ground earlier than I've ever planted cotton, and let me tell you, I'm excited about that. So we'll talk all about that in the next video. See you back in the field.